Hey everybody, it's Emily the Crazy Worm Lady. I'm here today with the new VermiBag Max for an update. I'm way behind with Christmas. I apologize. I do fully intend to get back on track after the new year when time is a little bit more readily available for me. So, pull this back, and I am going to be bad. I have not set up the backlight yet. And I'm going to try to move my lamp somewhere here where we can see a bit better. I think I can get this positioned. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get this positioned well, and then we'll get down in there. Ah, forget it. I put the lamp in here. I was having trouble getting it positioned well. But it looks like the worms have eaten through this piece of newspaper that was sitting on the side, you know, all in one piece. That's kind of funny. The top here feels a bit dry. But it doesn't seem like the worms mind. Down below feels nice and moist. We still have some apple. Those look like primarily red worms. Let's see. Now there's a few European night crawlers in on the party as well. So they seem to be getting along well there. I feel some food down here. Oh, it's another apple half, but this one had not been frozen. But they're still congregated around here as well. And like I said, the bedding definitely could use a bit more moisture, but all in all, the worms still seem to be doing well. So today, I'm going to add a good bit more moisture today and more bedding, and we're going to feed on top. I'm going to leave these pieces down the bottom for them to finish up, and lots more up top that they'll be able to eat on. So let me grab, I have a big thing of coconut coir. I'm going to pour that in here, and then we'll feed a bit on top and then just lightly cover it. Okay, so I filled quite a bit of coir all the way up pretty much to the top of where our newspaper starter is. So it's a good couple inches down here. So I'm going to add some of my dry mix before we add any food. The dry mix ingredients are linked below. But it's just some oyster shell for grit, kelp meal, diatomaceous earth, and neem cake. This is totally not a tried and true method for any one person in particular. I just kind of made it up on the fly to try to control some of the beetles that I get in my bins and mites and things like that, and it seemed to be relatively successful so far. And I have a ultra wet feeding, and I'm going to explain why. So I have a mix of foods in here, but if you see right away, I have rice. And rice will dry out. This is leftover Chinese food rice, and I've been letting it soak, and it's still rather hard. I have given rice before, and the worms do fine. I also have a couple more apples, some carrots. I think that's about it. A little bit of spinach in the bottom, and I did throw in a little side of kimchi that we had. Again, I have not found that spicy foods are harmful to my worms in any way. They manage it just fine. So, I know this is super wet and people are going to panic, but this bin can really handle the moisture. So I'm not at all worried about it, and I actually do think I'm going to pour all of the moisture over the top when I'm done, because this coconut coir, you have to remember, is very dry in general. So, let's see. Just going to dump all of this up and out of here. Really nasty. I'm going to move this for a second because I don't want to pour it all in one spot, or we will flood out the bottom. But this is a big feeding, and yes, we do still have some food down the bottom that they haven't finished, but I want to get the system up and running, and sometimes at least a little bit of an overfeed can actually be a good thing. It kind of gets the worms going into overdrive. I would not suggest that anyone does this if you're not experienced with it, or you feel in the least bit uncomfortable with it, because if a problem does arise, you might have some issues. the grains can heat up. Overfeeding can get the bin acidic. So you have to kind of take into account how often you're checking on your bins and whether or not you're willing to do a slight risk for hopefully a pretty good gain. So for me, I think this will be good. My worms tend to like it a little bit warmer, and these bins are, I mean, the room temperature are probably around 70 degrees. But even if it heats up a few degrees, I don't think it will be a problem for them at all. So I'm going to add a bit more of my dry mix here. Again, because there's oyster shell and there's diatomaceous earth. The oyster shell especially can be a bit of a pH buffer. So always good. You can have plenty of that, and that's not going to hurt anything at all. So I'm going to take this liquid we have and drizzle it over the top. I'm going to take you along here. And again, in general, I would suggest that you do not pour liquid into your bin, because if you put it in any one spot, it can likely end up coming out the bottom, leftover rice in the bottom. But because the core I put in was only lightly moist, it has a very good ability to absorb moisture. And with these foods up top, we want the worms to move up here. So I'm splitting some of these apples open real well, because apples go slow if they're not frozen and split up a bit. And I'm just going to top the rest of this off with a bit more coconut core I have here. My room is a mess, but I keep saying after Christmas, we'll get everything straightened out. So I'm just going to dump the rest of this core I have in the bottom of this tote, if I can get it to come out. Should have set up my tripod. I was rushing to get this update filmed today. So, my poor lamp. I have to clean it again. I use this lamp strictly for my worm room, so I don't worry about it getting dirty and gross. And again, unless you're filming or something, you probably don't need a lamp quite of this magnitude in your bin. You could always use a shop light, something like that, but gosh, that would be too easy, wouldn't it? So I'm going to take my lamp out of here, and we'll call it a week. I'll come back for another update. Might be close to the new year, if not around the new year, because my updates have been more like a week and a half lately in between updates because I have so many systems running. But let me know what you think. Drop those comments below. Like this video. Subscribe if you'd like some more content from me. And I'll be back with you guys real soon for another update. Have a great day.